Oh, and here we've got elements of... So yeah, I said Collision Chaos would be the one, or one of the zones I'd put in this from Sonic CD, and we do got a little bit of Collision Chaos in here. They put the collision conveyor belts into Lava Reef, and it's a good fit, I think, at least for the aesthetic of the zone. I feel, because yeah, it's like sort of like a mining operation. It's like moving rocks along the conveyor belts. So like, not only does it like have the gimmick in here, or I guess we haven't seen it moving rocks along conveyor belts yet, but we will see that later if I remember correctly. Now, if this is following the layout of the original zone, there will be... Okay. If it were following the layout of the original zone, there would have been a special stage ring up there. Okay. So they fixed the issue where you can use your shield powers without activating supersonic mode. But now they've added the problem where you can't do Tails assist without activating your shield power. Because the way that you fly up, that you get Tails... or you signal Tails to fly up and grab you, is, I think, what... I'm assuming it works this way, because it's the way it worked in Sonic 3 Complete, is you hold up... Oh, I was assuming that was death there, but, yeah, it turns out we're alright. Actually, we can just walk across this with the fire shield. Yeah. Okay, I bet you this here is a special stage ring. If it is, it's a really annoying one, but yep, there it is. And we got 100 rings, and we're up on 39 lives already. I've got save files. Or actually, yeah, so back in the day I had save file... This will give you a sense of how much I've played Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Which, yeah, as much as I was talking about the games that I like better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it was, for a very long time, my favorite... my favorite 2D platformer. Like, I played Yoshi's Island back in the day, but I didn't really fall in love with it until I rediscovered it years later. So yeah, for like a long, long time, basically, yeah, until I replayed Yoshi's Island many years later. Like, basically up through... I think it was like my last year of high school, where I replayed a bunch of old games, tried Yoshi's Island again, and it was like, man, this is phenomenal. This is my favorite game. But up until that point, so for my whole life up to that point, Sonic 3 and Knuckles was my favorite game. And yeah, up until recently, it was my second favorite game, so... And yeah, to give you a sense of that. What was I? Oh yeah, so my save file of my old cartridge for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which I no longer own. I don't have any old consoles. I'm not much of a retro connoisseur. I'm happy to play emulation. I know it's bad, but... Fuck it. I care more about video games. I care more about playing good video games than I do about ethics, which I guess is... does that make me the opposite of a gamer-gator? I don't know. Then I don't give a shit about games journalism at all, one way or the other, though, so I guess it's kind of a wash. But, that was a tangent. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, my old cartridge, I had save files with Sonic and with all the different characters you could do. I had a save file with Knuckles, one with Tails, one with Sonic, and one with Sonic and Tails, all with all of the emeralds collected, and with 99 lives. And I think probably not 99 continues. Did it keep track of your continues? It's been so long since I played those games that I don't remember if it kept track of your continues. I think it actually did. But yeah, some ridiculous... What was I doing there? Whatever. Some ridiculous number of continues as well, on all of them. 99 lives and, like, dozens of continues. About 30 seems right. About 30 continues and 99 lives on all of them. And then, and that's just the cartridge that I owned back in the day. I also have, like I said, ROMs of those old games, and I have save files on my Sonic 3 and Knuckles ROM with, all of the characters, all of the emeralds, and 99 lives and a bunch of continues. And I've also got Sonic 3 Complete, where I have save files of all four characters and character combinations with all of the emeralds, and I think probably more continues than all of the other versions of the game I have owned or played. So that's how much that's my level of experience. That's my qualifications with this series, to be telling you that, yeah, this is what was in this zone, and this is, yeah. Just, I don't know. Yeah, that's just, yeah, my level of enthusiasm for the original games. Which gives me kind of a skewed perspective, so it'll be interesting for me, I think, after this playthrough, to go on the internet and to see what people think of it. Because I can see, like I said, I've seen people play these games before, and most of those people suck at these games. Like shit, people have difficulty, like, beating, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which is, like, just blows my mind. And don't get me wrong, I had difficulty with it back in the day as a kid as well. I was terrible. Like, Sonic 2 took me, like, months of work, or not, like, months, but, like, probably about a month of solid, like, work, or solid effort to beat Sonic 2 back when I was a kid. I kept on, first I kept getting stuck in Mystic Cave, then I got stuck in Oil Ocean, and pretty much every zone after that I'd get stuck for a little while. But I'd play the game, like, every day. So eventually I mastered it, and that level of mastery carried forward into the other games. Like, I beat Sonic 1 in one sitting the first time I played it, and I didn't play Sonic 1 until after I played Sonic 2. And I beat Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Actually, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic and Knuckles took a bit of effort. I got stuck in Sandopolis for a little while as a kid, but other than that, yeah, I think the same day I beat Sandopolis back in the day was the same day I just beat the game. So, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I understand what it's like to be terrible at Sonic. It's just, basically what I'm getting at is I'm really curious to see the opinions on this game from all of the people who are awful at Sonic. And I see that's a thing among, like, people on the internet. You see this with Dark Souls a lot, where people get, like, critical and, like, angry at the people who dislike the game because they're not good at it. And I really don't get that. It's actually really, I mean, I kind of, like, I understand the psychology behind it, I guess, but I don't get that way about games that I like. If anything, I kind of feel bad for those people who can't sort of appreciate these games on the same level, because they don't have the basic skills to work through them and play through them and appreciate them the way you can once you get kind of a level of skill at them. But I'm still really interested in their opinions. It's really interesting to see just takes on these games that are different from my own. Like, I saw a stream of actually, I've seen a few different streams of new first-time Dark Souls players play Dark Souls, which is another among my favorite games of all time. Yeah, I don't know, it's up there. Yeah, as much as I've been saying that, like, Yoshi's Island and these types of games, like, I've been mentioning a bunch of games of this type, like, this is different. This is not the Knuckles boss of this zone. Whoa! Okay, okay, so I think he's half dead already. I can't still, oh, shit. Damn you! Okay, this seems a bit nonsense, but, oh, that seems super nonsense. I don't think I like this boss, but, I guess a lot of the other bosses were kind of this way for me my first time fighting them. Okay, I got lucky there. I don't know how to reliably hit this guy without getting, or just go for it, I guess? Yeah, I guess just go for it. Maybe the swinging spike. Okay, I know that sound cue now. Okay, can I even get hit by that thing? Okay, it actually kind of makes sense the way it works. It only hits you, or at least it looks from that like it only hits you when it's in, like, on the same plane. Like, it sort of recognizes 3D space where it won't hit you unless it's, like, swinging through swinging through the Z-axis is the best way I can think. Like it's kind of swings behind you and in front of you, but only when it's on the same plane. It's like, that sort of sense of 3D space, of, like, above, in front of and behind the main 2D plane that these games kind of do. So it seems like it's maybe easier to hit that guy than it looks. I don't know. I need to experiment a bit. But yeah, I think the game in a couple instances has had a bit of difficulty with just sort of those little bits of like counterintuitive, especially on the bosses, sort of counterintuitive bits where it's like something looks like it can damage you, but it actually can't. In fact, right from the first boss, like the legs on the Green Hill Act 2 boss. And I can't think of any other examples right now, but I think there's at least a couple more. Actually, a lot of sort of amateur games I've noticed really have that problem, where it's like a difficulty distinguishing between foreground and background objects, and difficulty telling which things can damage you and which things you can safely pass through or in front of or behind. Yeah, this game has a little bit of that problem. But I guess I could talk a little bit about I haven't actually talked about the creators of this game, which I really shouldn't, since I'm not positive on the specifics. I know Christian Whitehead and maybe Headcanon, I'm not sure. Or one of them, I forget who, was formerly known as the Taxman in the Sonic fan game community. Oh, this is something really cool that they added in this zone. So yeah, there were obstacles like this in the original zone, but it said it would bring down a spike on top of you, so you had to kind of get out of the way in time. In this one, there's a weight on the other side of that sort of, what's the word, catapult, I guess, and it launches you into the background, which is just a really neat little thing. And it's also a little bit reminiscent of the size-changing gimmick in Act 2 of Metal Madness in the original Sonic CD version of the zone. And they do the shrinking thing in Act 2 anyways in this game, but still, it's just like a really cool new gimmick that I rather enjoyed. I am losing a lot of these Blue Spheres levels now. I am kind of embarrassed about that. Oh hey, you actually can. Okay, you actually can make that jump, even at the first level of speed. That's interesting. I guess it might just be a superstition that I carry from my childhood. I just assumed that you needed more speed to make those double sphere jumps. But I guess it makes sense now that I think of it, because, yeah, if it just accelerates, like, the entire game engine as you speed it up, then, that would just mean you'd get, more airtime, while you're slower at the beginning. So yeah, you're still jumping the same distance, regardless of the speed. It's just a matter of how fast are you jumping. And in fact, it's more difficult to, make the double sphere jump. Just like that, just like I demonstrated there, because you're going so fast, it's harder to hit that point, that like barely on the edge of hitting it point, where you've got to make the jump. Okay, so maybe I never be... Still, I'm actually less apprehensive about playing too many Blue Sphere stages now, because I'm failing them so quickly that it's not actually taking up a lot of time. Anyways, Christian Whitehead and the Taxman, and Headcanon, and the Taxman is one of those people, but one of those other two people, but I can't remember which. Yeah, what... I should have looked this up beforehand, because I knew... I should have anticipated that I'd want to talk about it, and now I'm wanting to talk about it, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But basically... yeah, so some of the guys who worked on this are some of the same guys who worked on other Sonic fan projects. I think the main one that I'm familiar with is, first of all, they've done official Sonic sort of fan projects. Like I think they, yeah, these are the guys who worked on the remake or remaster of Sonic CD that's out on Steam, for example. And they also did a fan game called Sonic Megamix, which was not great, in my opinion. It did some interesting things, some sort of neat little variants on the Sonic formula, but it didn't really mesh well in the end, in my opinion. And I don't know, a lot of stuff that you would sort of traditionally gets criticized as ROM hacky, excessive enemies, a lot of cheap hits, and a lot of glitchiness as well. There were a lot of bugs in Sonic Megamix. And to be fair, it was always an incomplete project. Sonic Megamix never got... Like, I don't think there was ever a Sonic Megamix 1.0. I don't think it ever actually got fully finished. But... nevertheless. So I heard that, oh, this is the Sonic Megamix guys. And so I played Sonic Megamix. and because I'd played it years ago when it was sort of like still a work in progress, and it's like, okay, this has potential, but there's still some problems here. And then so I heard, oh, Sonic Megamix guys are on the new Sonic Mania game. That could be interesting. So then I go back and I play Sonic Megamix again, and it's like, hey, they added new stuff, but it's still not very good. It's about the same. It's like they added some new graphics and new music, and it's still pretty bad. So it's like, that doesn't bode well for this game. But, yeah, it's, apparently my fears were completely unfounded. They completely knocked it out of the park with this one. And, you know, Sonic Megamix was like an ancient project. That's probably been in the work for, I don't know, at least, probably close to, God, is it like 10 years at this point? Like, I think they did actually start it in like the mid to late 2000s, I think. A lot of these Sonic fan projects have been going like that. And actually, you see some of them coming out now, and that's the other thing, is, there's been sort of a renaissance lately of these sort of retro-style 2D games. Like I said, you got Freedom Planet, Volgar the Viking, like, they're not all amazing, but there's a lot of really, really good ones out there. Like, the bar has been lifted. I've talked about this before in, I don't know, maybe I haven't talked about it before, but it feels like I've thought about this before in relation to some of the other... Right, Mighty Number 9, that's where I talked about it, but the bar has been raised for these sort of, 2D platform games, or just like, 2D action games in general. Sort of classic-style 2D action games. And, the bar has been lifted, so Sonic Mania has a lot to live up to, and you see a lot of these, other Sonic fan games coming out as well. So, and like, you know, Freedom Planet started as a Sonic fan game, and then it came out, they sort of re-themed it, and it came out years later, and it was brilliant, and it was still one of my favorite games of all time. And like I said, not easily surpassing, but surpassing, or at least on the same level as the original Sonic games. And then you see, some of the other Sonic ones. Like there was, what were the ones I played? There was Sonic after the sequel, which I thought was decent. It was way better than Sonic Megamix, but it had its share of problems, I felt. And again, I'm not positive if it was actually complete or not, or if it was just like a beta or an incomplete version or something. Then there was Sonic Time Twisted, which was actually very good. Sonic Time Twisted was an extremely solid game, or I probably didn't need to do Blue Sphere so quickly after the last one. Did I get the coin in the last one? I don't even remember. Or you know what? I remember now. It was it was a redux of the final special stage in Sonic and Knuckles, which is why I went completely on autopilot when I was playing it, to the point where I didn't even remember going into here that I had played it. So yeah, that's what just happened there. Yeah, just my brain completely shut off as soon as it's like, oh yeah, this is familiar. I can just like completely switch my brain off while we're doing this, and as a result, I completely forgot that we had already done a special stage recently. Anyways, Sonic Time Twisted, very good. The bosses were a bit problematic, I would say. A bit of a mixed bag. There were some decent bosses, and there were some lousy bosses, and I don't think there were really any like super good ones, at least in my opinion. But nevertheless, the game as a whole was incredibly solid. Fantastic work. So that was kind of the bar that Sonic Mania had to clear. And there's like a few bars there, and like at the lowest bar you have Sonic Megamix, which is the worst one, which is the one that the guys who made this sort of founded and are, I think, most associated with. I could be wrong about that, or I could be misinformed with regards to that. And frankly, the Sonic, sort of Sonic fan game community is a bit, it's not exactly massive. And frankly, the guys, like the main dudes, Christian Whitehead, Head Cannon, they're so insanely talented that frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they had their hands in like every Sonic fan game that's ever come out. Just because, I thought that was me for a second. just because of the level of technical expertise. You think their skills would be highly sought after among Sonic fan game creators, and based on the level of quality, especially in replicating the Sonic engine, the level of quality that you see in those other Sonic fan games, it would not surprise me at all to find out that the guys who made this game and Sonic Megamix had their hands in, like, that's how you get up there. Had their hands in like a lot of those other really decent to really good Sonic fan games. And again, and in fact, I want to emphasize that I'm kind of talking out of my ass here. I don't have any specific knowledge or extreme familiarity with the Sonic fan game community or the developers in general. I'm just sort of repeating stuff that I read about a long time ago when I was looking into this stuff, and I haven't reviewed that information in a long time, and I'm really bad at retaining information over the long term. So I could be wrong about a lot of that, so by all means, I am welcome to criticism and corrections as to my little summary. But the thing is the basic idea, I think, that I want to get across is whether or not I'm representing my old findings when I was looking into that stuff correctly. My general conclusion, back when I did look into all of it, was that there could be trouble on the horizon for Sonic Mania. Actually, the drop dash actually made me a bit apprehensive as well. I didn't think it was a good addition to the game. Just like there's the debate people have about whether Sonic's about constant speed and just holding right all the way, and I felt like the drop dash might indicate that the designers might have held to that philosophy, where it's like, oh, now you don't need to slow down after doing a jump. You can just, like, jump. You can just, like, you know, do a drop dash. Okay, it looks like you need a certain amount of vertical distance to begin the drop dash, but other than that, yeah, you just press the button once and hold it, or, you know, you press, so yeah, while jumping, press the button once, again, hold it, and then, yeah, keep it held until you reach the ground. But yeah, with the drop dash, it feels like, oh, I don't ever need to slow down now. It's like if I'm like jumping to, you know, maintain my momentum and stuff, it's just like I can come out of a jump and go zooming right off immediately. Just like never slow down, always keep going. It's the only way to live without regrets, etc., etc. I think that what was it is. I used to have the quote memorized. It was something that came from the old Japanese Sonic. Just some random phrases on the boxes of the Japanese, original Japanese Sonic Genesis games. I haven't talked at all about this Metallic Madness zone, have I? Not a word, and now we're already at the boss. I mean, it would be funny if I kept it that way, but yeah, Metallic Madness, a bit of an odd choice, in my opinion. Again, not really one that I would have chosen. It's, again, probably one of my least... actually, kind of weirdly enough, it's, yeah, Metallic Madness in Sonic CD is, like, one of my least favorite zones aesthetically. I don't like the look of... Or it's not that I don't like the look, but it's probably the least... The zone that, yeah, with the least pleasing aesthetic, I would say. Oh, that's stuff that I need to avoid. I thought he was just exploding. With the exception of the future music, the bad future music for Metallic Madness is brilliant. It's like my favorite music in any Sonic game. It's like one of my favorite video game music tracks of all time is Metallic Madness Bad Future. But I don't like the aesthetic of the stage very much. Titanic Monarch, that was the one. Could never remember the name of this one. This is an interesting one. It seems like a really uncharacteristically, like, dark and challenging final stage, actually. Or I don't know. It kind of reminds me, actually, of the aesthetic of the final stages you'd see in a lot of the Sonic Advance games. Tended to do this, where you've got, like, the really dark and foreboding music and, like, kind of a darker aesthetic and really, really high level of challenge. In fact, yeah, now that I think of this, this level actually really does remind me a lot of like a Sonic Advance final zone. And it is, yeah, rather challenging, as I recall, compared to a lot of the other zones. I mean, yeah, it's, I mean, you know, it's the final zone, so that's appropriate, I guess. But again, I'm kind of curious to see if other people have as much trouble with it as I did. Or as much as trouble. To see what level of trouble people have with it, compared to what I did, we'll say. Because, yeah, personally, and I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I think that the level design of all of the zones in this game is generally fantastic. And like to the extent that it isn't fantastic, I mean, it's still fantastic to the extent that it isn't fantastic, because the extent that it isn't fantastic is the extent to which they copied stuff from the old zones. So it's still fantastic. It's just not original. They just copied and pasted fantastic zones or bits of zones instead of making their own. So it's still fantastic, it's just not the game's own fantasticness, it's just a ripoff, kind of. And only a little bit, and you don't really notice it, probably, unless you've, like, memorized the layouts of the zones in the original games. I felt like I threw that one away. I was, like, pausing and trying to think. You know, it's not the speaking so much that interferes with the gameplay, I find, with these commentaries, it's the thinking. So I've actually noticed this when reviewing some of my old playthroughs. A lot of my biggest gameplay blunders come not when I'm talking about something, but when I'm during the silences, when I'm thinking of what to say next. And that's what happened just there, where I was like, thinking of what to say next, and it's like, oh, I fucked up the special stage. Oh well. And now that I've gone off on that tangent about the nature of Let's Playing and video game commentary, which I keep on resolving to not discuss so much in these playthrough videos, yet we're back on it, and now as a result I've lost my train of thought yet again. Oh, and hey, we got the pig bots from, No, we don't need to do special stages anymore. I am done with special stages, I think. Although it would, I don't know, it said we were... I wish I had kept track, because I bet it would unlock something... Actually, this is kind of funny. This is almost like a copied and pasted bit from Scrap Brain Zone. Yeah, right up to that bit with the bouncy wall there. That's like the end of Scrap Brain Act 1, which is kind of amusing. It's like, God, they're ripping stuff off even in the original zones, but it's just kind of a coincidence, and it's not even an exact copy, it's just a little bit of a throwback. And I bet you it is a deliberate throwback, too. Yep, they included the pig enemies, so they included a little sequence of ramps that's reminiscent of the sequence of ramps in Scrap Brain where they did that. Oh, they popped up on me. I don't know why those needed to be pop-up spikes. I feel like that would have been reasonable to have them just be stationary regular spikes to prevent me from getting cheap damage there from them popping out on me. But, you know, it's the final zone, so I really shouldn't be spin-dashing around like an idiot so much. But nevertheless, that is kind of the way I like to play my Sonic games. Huh, didn't get the drop dash there. Okay, we can try that again. There we go. The heck? Did I go the wrong way? Wait, there's a hidden wall. There isn't a hidden wall. Shoot. Give me some rings. Okay. See, I'm not playing it like a Sonic player. You'd think that the smart thing to do would be, oh god, I'm on the spikes, let's get off the spikes. But no, the Sonic the Hedgehog thing to do is, okay, I've been hit by the spikes. Let me stand on these spikes for a little while longer until my rings bounce back onto me, and then I'll get off the spikes. Although actually, that's not really a Sonic game player thing, really, because, the old Sonic games, the rings wouldn't have bounced around inside the pit there with you. They would have just flown off into the walls and stuff. It's only in this game that they actually bounce off the walls and come back to you, and so it's beneficial to stay in the pit. So there, that's my Sonic credibility recovered. I actually acted appropriately for a classic Sonic player. Give me that! Give me that! Thank you. I want to get 50 lives by the time that I'm done playing this. then I'll be halfway to 99. Because I can almost guarantee you that I will. I'll do the thing I was talking about that I did with the old Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I can already tell, like, having basically played through the game twice at this point, or I guess 2.9 times I've played through this game, and I can already tell that I'm gonna play with every character, I'm gonna get all the emeralds with every character, and I'm gonna max out the lives to 99 on every character, because I'm gonna play the dickens out of this over the coming months and, frankly, years, because this is solid. This is more than solid. I am... In this moment, I am euphoric. Not because of the blessings of some phony god, but because of the blessings of a real god named Sega and Christian Whitehead and the Headcanon. I keep forgetting that one. Is this the boss here? Seems like a boss type flat. Oh, this was a pain in the ass with Knuckles, because you can just barely reach that eye. Like, not only can you barely reach it, but even if you do reach it, you'll just bounce back down onto the circling balls there. So it's like, yeah, this is like you didn't fight this boss as Knuckles in the original game. Knuckles didn't go into Death Egg at all. And for good reason, because he can't fight this boss, because he can't jump high enough. But they still make you fight him in this version of the game. So I don't know if, maybe, you know, development cycle, time constraints, all of that stuff. Oh, and Knuckles can't jump high enough to hit him in this form either. So you need to wait for him. Yeah, he's gonna come down. Yeah, he's gonna come down, and then you gotta wait for him to do that to hit him. Actually, you know what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can hit him when he's like that. The problem is when the elevator... The elevator physics are weird, where it's like if it's moving up, you'll get a low jump, and if it's moving down, you get a high jump. And if it's moving up, then you can't hit him, because you jump too low. And yeah, the problem I had with my Knuckles playthrough was, first of all, the first form is bullshit, because Knuckles isn't supposed to be able to fight this guy for good reason. And so that was annoying. And the other thing was that he kept doing the stupid up elevator attack, so I couldn't ever hit him, because I kept on getting the low jump. So that was... But I got lucky this time, so it was fine. Kind of like the Weather Vane boss. Or the Weatherman boss. Is there something in here I can get? This seems like it should be a thing. I guess it's not a thing. But, now I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh well. Actually, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think I got through Act 1 there without getting killed. I think.